Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the second day of our fourth edition of the Dil Se series that we began during the last weekend of February. Continuing from yesterday, we have many practitioners joining us from around the world. The combination remains the same. We have leaders from McKinsey, Ramco, and other corporates who are part of our corporate program called Kaushalam. We also have a large number of heartfulness practitioners joining us from Latin America. For ease of understanding, we have Myra translating in Spanish and Helena translating in Portuguese. So please make sure that you are dialed into the right channel so that you can understand what is going on in the program. So it's going to be obviously a very enriching conversation with people joining us, not only from all walks of life, but also from different parts of the world. So it's going to be a very diverse conversation, and I'm really looking forward to it. Till Daaji joins us, I wanted to use this time to share some of the incredible resources that you can learn, that you can dial into or listen into to learn more about heartfulness. To begin with, I would like to say that I strongly recommend reading The Heartfulness Way if you have not already read it. We also have many digital resources that you can access from any part of the world, from the comfort of your homes. So please go ahead and obviously visit our website, heartfulness.org, and you'll be able to look at all the resources that we have, including guided meditation, cleaning, the heartfulness relaxation, and also the prayer itself. So please do take the time to do that. And most importantly, we recently launched the Heart in Tune app. This app is primarily created with the goal to make meditation a habit. In the last 3-4 sessions, a number of people have asked this question saying, how do I make meditation a core part of my life and make it integrated in my very, very busy life? And, we all lead very busy lives. We have to balance our work, our family life, our personal life, and of course, all the other, all the other habits that we have in terms of, we might want to go out and have hobbies and go hiking or other things. So how do we really make sure that meditation becomes a core part of our lives? And I think I have been using the Heart in Tune app myself, and it's really helped me in staying disciplined because it actually sends you a notification at a fixed time every day in the morning. And then, you are reminded that you need to sit down and meditate at that time. So please do take the time to look at that app. I think it'll be really helpful in making sure that meditation becomes an integrated part of your life, and that also you stay disciplined, because there is a special emphasis to doing meditation at the same time as far as possible. Of course, we're all juggling very many things, and it might move around depending on our travel schedules or home schedules. But as much as possible, it's important to do it at the same time. And in addition to that, there are, of course, I think I would say hundreds of YouTube videos of Daaji sharing a lot of knowledge and information about the practice itself. Also, bite size, nuggets on how you can solve for real world issues that we face, regularly. Whether starting from how do you choose the right partner in life, all the way to how can you really stay calm in a stressful situation at work, or the role of love in business. So please go ahead and subscribe to our YouTube channel, and also take the time to listen into a number of these videos. So as I was saying, we'll have a number of Abhyasis, practitioners actually joining us from around the world. We also have Sister Bani, who will be helping us in actually, or rather she has already, helped in getting a lot of the questions together from a number of these practitioners who are recent joinees. So, we will be taking some questions from them, along with the audience questions that we always do. So please feel free to raise your hand, and we'll try and get to as many questions as possible. I would also wanted to just really thank Prashant Vasu, who's a heartfulness trainer, who's been helping me in the last few days, really curating a number of questions, and also getting a number of folks from McKinsey and Ramco and other corporates to be here and ask their questions. It's really helping us in diversifying this conversation and making it a learning experience, personally, of course, for me. But we got a lot of feedback yesterday coming in that a lot of people felt that the conversation was very helpful, and they were able to go out and build on the conversation that happened yesterday almost immediately. So thank you for all your help.
Namaste, Namaste Pragya and everyone. Good
Pranam.
evening. Pranams, pranams. Okay.
So, Daaji, we have a number of people who've joined us from Latin America today, and building on yesterday, we continue to have a number of leaders from McKinsey and Ramco and other corporates who are part of our Kaushalam program. So I will kick this question session with the first question from our new Heartfulness practitioner, Lakshmi. Lakshmi, would you like to ask your question?
Namaskar, Daaji. Thank you for this opportunity to ask and speak with you. So of late, I've been feeling very grateful, and I've been feeling great gratitude towards the fact that I'm so blessed. But there's also deep fear that it will go away just as quickly. So can you help me not think about the fear and just think about stay in the fact of being grateful?
What you're proposing is very practical, and that's life. That's what life. Where one moment you are so elate, you are so blessed with so many things, and you end up feeling grateful. You not just grateful, but you feel at peace. You are at tremendous level of bliss also. But when such extraordinary things happen beyond our imaginations, of course, there will be this inherent fear of losing. Right? But despite of this so-called fear, we continue maintaining this, and we enter into another zone of even higher level of peace, higher level of gratitude. Then you'll say, no, there is no reason why am I being afraid of. So, and that's where faith comes into picture. You see, where we are traveling into absolutely unknown territories. Babuji Maharaj, my master, used to say, our spiritual journey is the most adventurous journey because we are all moving towards the unknown. And as we move towards unknown, we become familiar to that extent. And to that level, our faith, our courage improves. Since remaining is also unknown, we have been used to this fear and doubt. So we keep doubting. But if you see your life behind and say, oh, my life has always been supporting me in every little thing. So why should I be disappointed, or why should I have any sort of a fear of any untoward things happening in the future? Because all your past records shows that you have been so well looked after by the existence. And now that you're meditating, your heart is also oversensitized with such discrimination of what to do, what not to do, you see. So rather your numbers of mistakes will also be reduced day by day. See? So keep on moving with a lot of faith. And even if you make mistakes, there is nothing wrong. We'll learn one more lesson from our mistakes. Thank you, Lakshmi.
Thank you.
So, Daaji, we'll go to one of our Latin American practitioners. Alejandra Christian, would you like to please ask your question? maybe we're not able to spot her, but Daaji, she's actually terminally ill, and she wanted to ask how to dissipate the fear of leaving a small child in the possibility of death, and prepare emotionally and spiritually to die in peace. So she's in a very difficult situation. So this is her question, Daaji, for you, and she's from Chile.
My God, you have asked me a question for which I have no answer. I really don't have any answer how I can prepare myself if I'm on a deathbed and I have a small child. I don't think I have an answer for that. I'm so sorry. But since you are asking this question to me, if you don't have relatives to look after your child, or if you don't have your parents or your in-laws supporting your child, you can count on Heartfulness will look after your child. If that gives you some peace of mind, we'll look after in India, we'll educate your child, what do you like to do. But I remove the anxiety from your mind, I don't know. But this much we can do for you.
Thank you, Daaji. I'm sure she's heard your message, and we wish her all the best. This is a very, very difficult time, so our heart goes out to you. So we'll go on to the next question. Neha, who's raised her hand in from the audience, would you like to unmute yourself and ask a question, please?
Namaste. Can you hear me?
Yes, please go ahead and ask your question, and please share with us which center you're from, please. Thank you.
I'm from Kota, Rajasthan. 3-4 सेशन के बाद अब मेरा नंबर आया है. I just want to see him. Please, आप वो स्क्रीन पे नहीं आ रहे. मास्टर स्क्रीन पे नहीं दिखाई दे रहे मुझे.
हाँ जी, आप बात कर रही हैं इसलिए वो Zoom का ये फीचर होता है, तो आप अपना प्रश्न थोड़ा जल्दी पूछिए, जैसे हम और लोगों के पास जा सकते हैं. अगर आपके पास क्वेश्चन है तो मैं अगले.
नहीं बिल्कुल है.
पूछिए.
पहले तो बस इतना विषय में लिखे मास्टर, आप हमेशा बहुत खुश रहे, ये मेरी विश है. और एक चीज मैं पूछना चाह रही थी कि मेरे प्रिसेप्टर्स कहते हैं कि कान्हा बहुत हर अभ्यासी को कान्हा जाना चाहिए, वो जरूरी होता है. पर जो लोग नहीं जा पाते या सपोर्ट नहीं है जाने के लिए, तो क्या उसकी साधना में कमी रह जाती है, और अगर वो रह जाती है तो उसे कैसे फिल किया जाए,
के बारे में बात कीजिए. आप दूसरों का सवाल क्यों पूछती हो, आपका पूछो.
मेरे आई बात दिल में, तो आप
तो दिल की बात है, लेकिन आप क्यों नहीं आ पाती है? बुढ़ी हो गई, पाँव टूट गए, पैसा नहीं है, क्या हो गया?
आपने नहीं बुलाया शायद अभी.
Anyway, next question, please.
Yes, Daaji. We also have, Luis, who had raised his hand yesterday. So, Luis, please go ahead and ask your question.
Yes, thank you for this. This is very nice. So my question is, when I'm trying to meditate, I've been doing it for almost a year now, and I have thoughts that are constantly interrupting me. And they're good thoughts, actually. They're always positive thoughts, but they're still thoughts, and they still feel fidgety. They still feel kind of, well, I know that my body and my mind and my heart feel better when there are no thoughts, even if they're good thoughts. So the question is, if I feel better when I'm not having thoughts, why do I insist in producing them? And is there any way to stop them? Because that's where I feel the most connected, the most in tune with the world. Is it a matter of just always begin again, Or are there some tricks? Are there some clever tricks that one can do to stop that constant stream of thinking?
Louis, thank you for this very practical question. We always find it so fascinating, and I like this idea that you are proposing. The thoughts are thoughts, whether they are good thoughts or bad thoughts. It's not meditation. Meditation in English is wrongly translated from the original word we call dhyana in India. You see, in English, they define meditation as thinking of something over a considerable period of time. But in dhyana, as you are also interestingly putting it, that when there are no thoughts, you like that so much. That state of mind where there are no thoughts. That is dhyana. See? And that's what we are aspiring for. Of course, thoughts will come. It's like this exercise, mind has to be exercised, how not to think. But more you exercise how not to think, it thinks more and more. And especially when you have good thoughts, you are chasing them. See, it's not even finished and another good thought comes. And you're expanding and then another thought comes. And if you're a scientist, perhaps you might, write a thesis on just one thought and say, wow, I am able to expand this so much. And that's the beauty of when we think and meditate, that's the beauty part of it. But when we arrive at this thoughtlessness, it's like, when you are trying hard to sleep. When you try so hard to sleep, you cannot fall asleep. It just happens. When we try not to think, your mind will, bring all kinds of thoughts. So at that time also let go of it and just surrender to the existence and say, okay, I give up. Whenever thoughts do come in my mind, I generally think that I am now meditating on the divine presence in my heart that is attracting my attention inward, and I'm being blessed with the grace from above. That's all. Again, some thoughts would come, and I would remind myself that I'm meditating. And whenever I have taken a sitting in my earlier days from a preceptor, he would say, please start meditation. And I would also sit in front of that preceptor. Or sometimes I would sit in front of my master. And at that time, since they are doing the cleaning on me, all kinds of thoughts would come. They would rise in my mind, and it's like a volcano. And the things that you should not be thinking in front of your master, they say, why do they come? Even when I'm away from him, when I'm alone, I don't get such thoughts. But now I'm sitting in front of my master, I'm sitting in front of a preceptor, and I'm getting all these crazy thoughts. And then you say, oh my God, not now, please don't come now. And you will ruin your meditation, see, that way. So what do I do at that time? I bite my tongue. That's one thing I did. Second thing I did was I opened my eyes very gently, as if my master is not looking at me. I opened very quietly. And then raised my hand and breathe deep. Nothing would work. And I would just sit with the mind absolutely surrendered and say, okay, boss, do what you have to do. And when I let go of it, then I would be lifted up as if I'm, being shot in as a rocket into a vacuum. Then I will have no thoughts. Moment you surrender, mind will give up. So the idea of surrender, you see, to the greater force or to the existence, and say, I submit myself you may take care of it now. And see the magical things happening then, see. Mind is rebellious. More you try to work with it or against it, it's not going to work. So we move our attention towards the heart and try to feel instead of think of divine. We try to feel the divine.
Thank you, Daaji. Our next question is from Karen, who is a leadership coach from the Netherlands. So she's joined us today. Karen, could you please ask your question and also share for how long you've been practicing heartfulness? Thank you.
Namaste to all of
Namaste.
you. Thank you for receiving my question. I'm sorry my video is not working at the moment. Hopefully tomorrow it will. I've been practicing heartfulness for over a year now, led by Prashant. It's an international group, and we have done this very diligently, and I'm very glad to be part of it. My question is concerning emotions and feelings, and negative ones. You have this school of thought which says you should dive into your feelings and your negative emotions in order to live them through and to release them. Whilst other schools of thought hand you the possibility of positive affirmations. So not to give too much attention to your negative emotions and to graciously move away from them. And both I find very valuable. And yet I have this question, how does this work? Because it feels opposite of one another. Maybe it's about balance, I don't know. I would love to hear your thoughts on it.
Well, I like this idea of balancing. Because whenever there are negative thoughts, negative feelings, we need to find the root cause of it, first of all. Why are they arising? Are they arising to warn me? Or are they arising out of this negative habit of always thinking, for example, not to trust people, just like that? And this conditioning of not to trust people has its own roots, because you must have experienced this sort of things that makes you or that forces you not to trust people. It's also a negative feeling. Somehow, negative feelings also serve us a purpose. But how far do you want to go with it? See, many times the negative feelings will rob us of the freedom that we can enjoy. So life is a gamble. We have to take it as it comes, even if there is a negative feeling. But if your heart says, move on, the negative feeling is coming from the head and not from the heart. But make sure that you do your cleaning properly, the heartfulness cleaning. And if this negative feeling is still there, that means it is cautioning you that not to trust something. Whenever I have had this negative feeling in my heart, I don't try to analyze it. I just simply sit and try to do my cleaning for a few minutes. And that's all. I don't look for any solution out of it. And if that is still not solved, I offer it at bedtime as in the form of prayer. That please help me understand this particular issue. And by morning, I'll have the answer. Almost all the time, I've been able to solve this problem simply by doing the cleaning myself or offering the prayer. And we have this great advantage of preceptors or the trainers. You may not share the problem because you may like to maintain certain problems as private to your heart. But you can tell the preceptor or the trainer that please help me get out of a negative situation that I'm going through. Please help me clean myself or clean my heart. Or if you don't want to even go into so much of details, just say, I would like to have a sitting from you. That's all. And you don't have to even call anyone. We have this Heart in Tune app. Just make a request for a sitting and see what really happens to this negative emotion that you are talking about. Whatever be the negative feeling, we like to get rid of it once and for all. So.
Thank you, Daaji. We have Maria, who's joined us from Colombia, and she is also a recent practitioner. So Maria, please go ahead and ask your question.
Namaste, Maria.
Namaste, Master. Thank you. Our question is on breathing. Why not give a special emphasis to breathing by incorporating it into the practice? Thank you.
I highly recommend that you should do some pranayam for 5 to 10 minutes before meditation. And we have shown 5 types of pranayama on our YouTube video, on Heartfulness YouTube video. So please have a look at it and see if it also can help you.
Daaji, talking a little bit more about the practice, I thought I would also actually, ask you a question about the importance of transmission in human transformation. What I mean by that is, we have a special emphasis, or so to say, the superpower of heartfulness is transmission. So since a lot of people are new practitioners, I think it would be wonderful if you could share your thoughts on that. And of course, until Daaji comes back, I just wanted to re-emphasize that please do take the time to read the Heartfulness Way. I've started rereading it, and there's been a lot of interesting learnings for me. But Daaji, please.
So you want to know the role of transmission in our practice, is it?
Yes, Daaji.
Okay.
And the uniqueness of it, compared to how it brings transformation so quickly when you are practicing heartfulness.
Well, just as meditation has been wrongly translated in English from a word dhyana, transmission is also, I would not say wrongly translated, but it is the closest translation you can have. What are we transmitting? Transmission means something that is being transmitted. What is this transmitted entity? Is it energy? Is it prana? How does it help us? So to explain this, I'll have to explain to you a bit differently. See, just as to nourish my physical body, I take balanced diet. I take diet which is healthy, more nutritious. I take vitamins, minerals. I look after my body with physical exercise. Okay, that's one part of it. Behind this physical body, we have the nervous system, the mind. There's a brain component and there's a mind component to it. Brain is physical, mind is subtle. What can enrich this mind? What can enrich my intellect? What can enrich my consciousness? We interact. We go to university, we go to colleges. We interact with elders. In olden days, when people were being educated, they didn't go to school or colleges or universities. They learned from their parents, they learned from their elders in the villages. That's how they learned various vocational items. Now, when you go further, what supports this consciousness? Then we understand the concept of life force, or Atman, or the soul, as we call in English. How do we enrich the soul? We know how to enrich the physical body. We know how to enrich the mind. But how do we enrich the soul? Babuji Maharaj and his master Lalaji, they invented, rather reinvented this method through which they are able to transmit this life force, pranasya pranaha, soul of the soul. And individuals who are in touch with the source, the yogis of very high caliber, they can connect with the source and transmit it. We experience that whenever we close our eyes and become receptive to this transmission. It simply takes us to a different dimension in very short time. If you like to conduct an experiment in your community, it's too late for you to now experiment on yourself, because now you're connected. Somehow, the moment you close your eyes and think of transmission, it will come to you. So you cannot do this experiment which I'm proposing to you, but you can select 5 or 10 individuals in your community and tell them to meditate as per whatever method they like. Give them 5, 6 different methods and continue this experiment half hour every day for 10 days. Let them write their best experience. Later on, same 5 or 10 individuals, you make them meditate with this heartfulness way of meditation, with transmission, with this yogic transmission, and see what happens to their experience. That will show you the difference in consciousness, that this, because of this transmission, how our consciousness changes rapidly within half an hour. See, we had done this experiments long time back, where we had measured the EEG graph, electroencephalograph, where they put probes on your brain, on your head, and they measure the graph. Graph measures the electromagnetic changes that happens in your brain. But whenever you think or whenever there's a mental activity, it creates electromagnetic field that can be measured on this EEG. Now, when a child is connected through these probes, you will be able to see multiple, these spikes, almost 30 to 40 hertz per second. When you're reading a nice book and you're relaxing under a tree, and you're so absorbed reading a book, and if those probes were connected to your brain, you'll be able to see 10 to 12, perhaps, the spikes in your brain, hertz per second. Now, if you're going to sleep, just about to go to sleep, then it will come down. These mental activities will come down, and so these EEG spikes will also come down to maybe 8, 10, and when you're in a very deep sleep, you might have 3 to 4 spikes per second. Now, when we meditate as per this heartfulness way, and when we receive this transmission, we immediately go into a state as if you are in deep sleep. It's mimicking the delta wave in meditation. See? Even if you're a newcomer and a first-time meditator, within few minutes, you will enter into this delta wave mode. And what is this delta wave? Ordinarily, if you are not meditating, delta wave will come only when you are in deep sleep. But when you are meditating as per our method with transmission, then this delta wave will appear during meditation. It only shows that you are extremely relaxed, as if you are sleeping, but you're not sleeping, because all of us are aware during meditation. So that is the beauty of transmission, you see. It can change our consciousness instantly. and takes us to a different dimension altogether. I don't think there are instruments that can measure the changes that happens beyond the delta wave. But transmission can do all that. We may not be able to measure it, but we all can feel the impact of transmission. Earlier, someone was talking about bliss. How are you going to measure the bliss on EEG? It's very difficult.
True.
So I think it's, I don't know if you, are you able to understand what I tried to share, Pragya?
Yes, absolutely, Daji. And we've also superimposed what you were sharing in terms of the experiment. So our viewers are being able to see how the delta waves and theta waves actually are and what the range is. So thank you so much for sharing that. And we also had a few questions coming in from our Instagram live, which were talking about how to experience this pranahuti shakti. And somebody said, how do I experience it? So I was actually going to say that, you're going to be conducting meditation another 10 minutes. So I'm sure they'll get a chance to experience pranahuti live, from you. But moving on, Daji, we have another question from Instagram live where the person has raised, something that we all actually experience in our daily lives, where he says that, my friends from other communities who are, Christians and Muslims and others who don't necessarily believe in rebirth and, therefore are not so excited about the heartfulness meditation practice. And how should he explain to them that, samskaras, and that, people who, explain the samskara theory to people who do not believe in rebirth, and how can heartfulness change their lives?
Well, generally, I don't try hard to convince people. So if they do not want to practice, how can we force also? We should not force. But whether you believe in past life or not, we have some past life since birth, right? Suppose you have gone to a teacher and teacher spanks you on the first day of attending the school. You will have a very difficult time getting ready to go to school on the second day. And if some bad experience happens again, then you will have absolute aversion towards going to school. See? So this is how we form impressions. Samskars, just because it's a Sanskrit word, we should not dislike it. Samskars are nothing but impressions. Impressions can be of two categories. It has two components rather. One is a cognitive component and another is an emotional component. Let me explain to you how sanskars are built, first of all. Whether you believe in past life or do not believe in past life, but these samskars or the impressions are always formed, always, no matter who you are. You fall in love with a girl. You kissed her on Alabama Street and Massachusetts Avenue. You spend all night on that corner with her. After 2 months, you break up with her. Okay. You happen to walk by that Massachusetts Avenue and Alabama Street. You are all alone. What will you think visiting that corner? What will go through your mind at that time? So the impressions haunt us. Take it further. You got married. And now you're walking with your wife and you happen to visit the same corner again. And you remember your girlfriend. What will happen to your mood at that time? And your wife will ask you, what happened, honey? Why are you so different at this moment? How will you answer? Will you be honest enough and say, I made love with so and so once upon a time at this corner? So we have impressions. You try to forget, you might forget. Your memory, you may take drugs and say, okay, hell with it. And that's what we try to forget all the time. You may forgive also, because it's sometimes easy to forgive. When priests or some psychologist comes up and convinces you, you better forgive and get rid of this baggage from your heart. It is ruining you. And maybe you are able to forgive that person and say, okay, maybe it was my mistake. And you take the blame on your heart, and your heart becomes a bit lighter when you apologize. Oh, I'm sorry, though the person is not in front of you. So that's why they say it's easy to forgive, but difficult to forget. Memory will always be there. Your cognitive part will always be there. You may get rid of the emotional part. And these impressions, they last forever. Let me explain to you a bit differently. Our thoughts, our habits, means actions. We keep on repeating our actions. It creates a kind of a personality in us. It creates a different sort of vibratory state in our heart. Let us say if you're a butcher, you have a job as a butcher. Versus you work as a priest in the church. Versus a nurse who is looking after a hospital patients. All three will carry a different level of vibrations in the heart. Imagine the vibratory state of a murderer or a rapist. This vibratory state is created by multiple impressions, and which multiple impressions are created by multiple levels of actions, repeated again and again, again and again. And that creates our personality. That's why many people who are very sensitive, they look at a photo and say, okay, this is a good person, this is not a good person. Sometimes you have also experienced, especially our sisters, the ladies who are very sensitive, when you are seated in a plane and a passenger who is sitting beside you and even by mistake touches your skin, you feel, that gooey feeling in your heart and say, please don't touch me. You feel like smacking that person at that moment, you see. These sort of feelings are created by the vibratory state of a person. And this vibratory state of a person is created by the repeated actions. And these repeated actions creates impressions in your mind and heart, in your consciousness in sort. And this is what we call samskaras. You really do not have to believe in before life or after life. In this life itself, we are collecting so much of garbage in us. So Heartfulness teaches us how to get rid of all these impressions on a daily basis before they become, very solid or a gross kind of a thing in our heart. So daily cleaning is very important. To me, daily cleaning is more important than daily meditation.
Thank you, Daaji. Sorry, go ahead, please.
And, you should always try and take 2 sittings, 2 sessions through a preceptor. You can always use this Hearts in Tune app and say, I would like to sit. And, in my earlier days of practice, I would almost go almost every single day to my preceptor and take sittings. But I recommend you take 2 sittings every week from a preceptor, and they will help in this cleaning process of these impressions. much more than we individually can do.
Sure, Daaji. We'll take the last question now from Regine. She's from Brazil. So Regine, could you please unmute yourself and ask your question?
Hello, Regine caller.
Hello, Daaji. Thank you so much for sharing your precious time and thoughts with us. So I have a question from Sister Adelise from São Paulo, and she asking, how can we live in peace without resenting the person who has caused us harm, who has caused us harm?
Well, I hope that person is still not with her. Otherwise, there will be addition every single day. And if that person has become the past in your life, let it remain a past history and forget the whole thing. See, you can forget the person as well as the emotions. And as I said, take a sitting and get rid of those moments. Idea is always to forgive. Let go of it. Have a bigger heart. He did what he had to do. I can forgive and move on in life. What is the point of carrying that baggage which is so toxic in your heart? It hurts, of course. When someone hurts you, it's terrible. And when somebody takes undue advantage of you, and mostly it happens to sisters. There are many men, lurking and just like difficult to describe them in words because they are so worse than animals at times. You have to let go of it and be wiser not to repeat such actions and be prey to such human beings ever again in life. But keep your heart open at the same time. But if you hate that person or man in general, one man did this to you, second man did that to you, need not be that third man also do the same thing to you. It did not be so. So don't close your heart. Keep it open. Only then love will flow. Many sisters, they come up and talk like this. Oh, I love this man, he betrayed me. I love another man, he betrayed me. What should I do, Daaji? Should I close my heart and don't love anyone? I said that will be a tragedy. If you stop loving, then you are imprisoning yourself. So you can't punish yourself just because someone betrayed you. It's easy for me to talk like this, and I'm sure it must be very difficult for our sister who has experienced this thing, but it's to become wiser and not allow such experience to happen again. And if it is really hurting so much now, I would recommend take regular sittings. And Regina, you're a preceptor, so you can always give her a sitting and say, sister, I can help you with that. I'm seeing Valerie. Valerie, where are you these days? I'm seeing you almost after 20 years.
Hello, namaste.
Namaste, Valerie.
I am in Guadeloupe, and Jonathan from Denmark, my son, is here. It's his birthday today. So we are connected together, more than son with you today.
Oh, very nice, very nice. Good to see you.
Thank you very much.
We have always stayed in her house whenever we visited Montpellier.
Yes.
Her house had been our hotel kind of a thing. At times, will be 20, 30 of us staying under one roof.
Yes, it was such beautiful. So many pictures. Now the house is has its own life. But my mother moved to Metz near the Tow Basin in this nearby. And yeah, I count it was like 37 years ago or something like that now.
Anyway, good to see you, Valerie. Be well, be happy.
Thank you very much.
So we'll meditate now. Okay, Pragya?
Yes, Daji, absolutely. I only wanted to say that, for all the new practitioners, this is the added, you get a new community and a new family when you join Heartfulness, which is world around, and people open their hearts and homes for you. So this is incredible. So just wanted to add that, Daji.
Yes. Please start meditation. That's all. Bas kijiye.
Thank you, Daaji, once again. I actually felt the blast off that you were talking about earlier in the session. So thank you so very much. And thank you everyone for joining us from around the world. And we look forward to interacting with you again tomorrow at the same time. So thank you so much. Thank you, Daaji.
Good night. Morning in Latin America.
Yeah.